Ladies and gentlemen, how you all doing? This is Connor.
This is Rangru, hello, hello, hello.
And folks, giving you some more WARNO today. Indeed, we are actually over here on Geisa with Division 1 play of the WARNO League. Rang, who do we have? What are they bringing?
On the left-hand side, in the blue, we have Phoenix TV, which you should definitely check out his Twitch channel. He's quite active in the WARNO streaming. He's playing the 3rd Armor Division. And on the right-hand side, in the red, we have ourselves a Hippie playing the 79th Guards Tank Corps, or Division.
So 3rd Armored, of course, that means we're going to have tons of M4 Shermans, maybe a couple of Jumbos, maybe a Rhino or two, right? Like, what's going on with these?
Yeah. It's good that it's always consistent they add 3rd Armored.
You know, from a timeline consistency, yeah, I think it's actually really kind of cool. But, obviously, of course, very, very different than what we had seen in the previous war. Now, of course, we have, both super early CPs. Interesting decision there. But, both sides bringing in tons and tons of tanks, right?
Indeed, it will be the tank-on-tank battle, both sides having the top-tier super heavies. It's a pretty decent map for that, as there's quite a lot of open ground for him to take advantage of. So we'll see who can come out on top in the tank engagement.
Yeah, we do have some trapped rolls being brought in early, but seeing some OSAs on the other side. So, air game. Just while they're setting up over here, I know both sides, a lot less air than we maybe have seen last time, but air quality, what's that look like for both these divisions?
Yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, MiG-31s and F-15s, top-tier fighters. Yeah, honestly, both divisions are really bloody good in terms of actual equipment. You're getting the best of the best. And we're also seeing our first order engagement down south, BTR-80s and some infantry catching some Americans out in the open.
That's true, but at the same time, I see M150s were firing some toes across the way going after the BTRs as they were going from southeast to northwest here. And indeed, look at the recon troops. I actually like the fact that recon troops now aren't just, we're going to find one thing and get shot. Like, these are generally kind of almost viable squads now.
Yeah, and also having, some RPGs helps out as well, compared to SD2.
That's true. That is true. Second command sector over here being seized over here in Hotel by a command vehicle, and might see some action over here on the northern side. Engineers starting to engage these Razvetkas.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Yeah, Phoenix has done a pretty good job, getting into these important positions, using a lot of dragon-based infantry to zone out Hippie's lighter vehicles at the start here.
An SU-25 being brought on in. Ooh, supply vehicle going down. That's actually a pretty bad loss early here. It's only 30 points, but the munitions is not what you want to be dropping this point.
What's this SU-25 going for? The Bradleys?
He's going actually for the M103.
Oh, he did a gun run. That is cool as hell.
Oof. But I think he's... Yeah, that's an F-15 right here. Really... Oh, he's Winchester already. Jeez.
Yeah, and that MiG-31 coming in as well with those cross-map missiles, gonna be forcing the F-15 back, not getting a kill, but the Su-25 does survive, so good bombing run there from Hippie.
No. Ooh, Bradley's out in the open, not really the best right there, but I guess when you do have those toes of all the Bushmasters, they could be okay. I'm not fond of this. I mean, it used to be that armored vehicles, that's exactly what you did. You had these open field pushes, but I don't know. I feel like it's kind of funny that now the tactics are almost reversed. Like infantry, you might be able to be a little more aggressive over the open field because of that range equalization. But vehicles, I don't know. I feel like vehicles you have to be playing tighter into some kind of woodlines now. What do you think?
Yeah, because there's just so much deadly ATGM troops and they're pretty damn cheap. You can't be affording to rush up the Bradleys, and you do see him drop the smoke immediately and bugger off. Hippie's getting a pretty good defensive line in this forest, and that's pretty important, because if he can not even fully capture Delta, but just neutralize it, then that's kind of the tipping point zone, so to speak, on this map. The two central points are really the key points to capture, because there's no way in hell you're really going to get much into Alpha or Hotel.
That's very, very true. Now, M47, I know it's a Dragon here, but that's in essence a Javelin.
It's like a really crappy ATGM, which Americans use. So WARNO compared to Wargame, it's a bit better. But it's just a standard ATGM.
Gotcha. Yeah, like we were talking beforehand, I would say that, technically speaking, this is definitely probably your area from Wargame kind of being carried over here, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all same stuff, just different implementation.
Very, very true. Now, I'm trying to see... We're getting a real mess of supply vehicles being brought in early. So is that just a response to just the fact that he knows the 79th has all these tanks? Or is that... Like, what's the reason for that? Or is this the surface-to-air missile kind of just supply batteries there?
Yeah, you need to keep your chaparrals supplied because, by God, he only got 4 missiles as well. And also the Dragon teams do go through their missiles quite heavily. We're seeing one in the center, already out here. But managing to get into a decent position here. However, Hippie does have some T-62s, which will provide adequate fire support. And we're also seeing Phoenix as well. He's definitely playing the heavier armor earlier on. He's got an M1A1 Abrams up north, the 2 Bradleys providing support. I really do like his push here because there's not a whole lot here to stop him at all. This is a perfect area to strike.
Yeah, not a whole lot maybe, but there still is if there was a T-62.
Yeah.
So, I guess for me, one thing I'm surprised by is we do have these 120mm mortars that we could be bringing in from the Soviet side. What do you think about that to kind of maybe start drawing that line in the sand and saying, you know what, you go no further than here?
No, he needs heavy anti-tank. Like, mainly getting those T-ATUs out and other sorts of AT. You see him... Oh yeah, he's bringing out a T-ATU finally, and also an Mi-24 anti-aircraft drone. Yeah, actually quite a surprising buy right now, considering there's no actual helicopters to shoot down. Maybe he's gonna
Was it the
use it to
airgrounds?
deter against like F-15s, but you might as well just buy a proper SAM unit at that point.
I'm seeing American already being used here?
I believe so.
Oh no, we're getting... No, this is south. This is that one... It's a 120mm. It's actually
There you go.
engaging right
There you go. And it's been spotted already, so he will probably get counter-batteried at some point. The Mi-24 coming in, maybe just brought it full of cheap rockets, actually, blowing up the Bradley. The A-1 Abrams is forced back, but the Su-25 comes in. But the smoke, was clutch. Very clutch.
Well, the chaparrals over here are going to be engaged in the Mi-24. I think that's a decent thing. Now, resighting. This is something that, we always harped on in SD2. I think that mobility ends up being even more important over here. When we move into the kind of Cold War, you have the mobility. This is no longer guys schlepping around with your Chevrolet legs. These guys can move. Mm-hmm. So I'm loving every single time we see that kind of very, very high mobility being used here.
Yeah, we've managed to gain a few horsepower in 40 years.
True. Very, very true. What's this coming in from? Is the Americans an A-10?
He's probably going to use that against T-ATU here, and that could actually work. There's really not a whole lot of the actual air defense here, apart from that one OSA AKM, and okay, never mind, it's the MiG-31, and that thing is very good at telling aircraft to bugger off. This is my airspace from, 50 kilometers away.
Well, and I'm trying to think about the way you interact against that. Maybe you try to sneak a squad or 2 Stingers over into the central area. We have that supply truck.
You just have to hope for the best, really.
Well, I'm thinking that the entire idea here should at least be attempt of an area denial. Maybe not perfectly so, but at least it could allow you to kind of increase a little bit more, put some more missiles in the air without sacrificing concealment. So
yeah, pretty much dealing with like the MiG-31 or eventually foresee a bloody F-14 Tomcat with like the super long-range missiles. You kind of just have to send in your fighters to break through the air defense and hopefully shoot it down. Because if you're fighting against someone who knows what they're doing with the MiG-31, it's basically impossible to shoot down as you just fly it only over your spawn and you never attack with it like directly into the center.
Worth mentioning, 2 Su-25s being brought on in, so he's looking to elicit quite an interesting response from Phoenix. I imagine we'll see probably one of those F-15s you were talking about pretty quickly. Chaparrals in the meantime lighting up targets, but I think we're going to see at least one Jet Abrams here, I'd expect. No.
You're one down south, pop smoke in nick of time. Very good smoke play here from Phoenix, really showcasing the power of having smoke launchers and tanks. Thank you, Eugene. Only took you a decade.
True.
But second Abrams shell, tanking it. Good God. Although those SU-25 missiles were a bit more deadly, but those Abrams do tank it like a boss. F-15 coming in, MiG-31 overshooting though. He's not exactly a knife fighter, so he does not want to be engaged in that F-15. Oh!
There's no way he was getting out. There's two MiGs. There's two MiGs
the
and
evac
ground
as
fire.
well. Like, that was such a tight angle here, and the F-15 coming in. Gonna get hit from ground fire.
Twice.
And he also gets shot down as well. That's huge losses, yeah, from Phoenix, losing both of those F-15s.
But
He has more, at least.
But
He has 2 cards.
But that's the idea, though, is that you gotta go and really put a target out there worth kind of, I say, suckering in your opponent, that's unfortunately the only way I could think to put it here.
Yeah, that's a good thing with the MiG-31. You can kind of bait in your opponent in maneuvers like that. And as you saw, just over your air defense all the time, you're good to go. However, even though the air game wasn't looking good for Phoenix, the ground game is quite a bit different. He is completely bullying Hippie off the point here. He just has so much, better, stronger fire support in the center, where Hippie's just very spread out.
What a shame that the Bradley down south didn't start engaging that command vehicle instead.
Huh.
Anyway, so I mean, we are seeing that Gulf, Hotel, Foxtrot, all three of those over here towards the Eastern Alliance. And is that the 120 mil still going?
Yeah, he's still alive. He has not got counter batteries yet.
MI-8's in the meantime. Ooh, he goes down, getting hit. We have another Mi-24 being brought on in. And the Su-25 making gun runs at the Abrams. Gets one.
Very good kill. Once again, breaking through the enemy air defense network. F-15 coming in is not going to get the kill, however. You see the MiG-31s get brought out immediately to intercept the intercept.
But that's the thing. Oof. F-15s, I know you mentioned the technical proficiency of them over here, but at the same time, it feels like they've been getting spanked. Is that just a consequence of just how good the MiG-31 is? Or has there been a misuse of them here?
Yeah, if you have 2 MiG-31s, they can pretty much knock out most individual planes, just because you have so many missiles at such long range. It's a hard thing to counter MiG-31s if your opponent knows what they're doing. However, once again, it's not really mattering too much here for Phoenix. He loses a tank or two, but he's gaining tremendous territory. And the thing is once you capture Gulf, and he's pretty much captured at this point, it's kind of hard to lose. It's a very easy defensible position, and there's a lot of open ground between you and your opponent.
Worth mentioning that he did chase off the command vehicle there, as you just mentioned. And I think he's probably going to bring one in over here to pick up Delta. Do we see a second one, perhaps? No, but we see the F4 Phantom being brought in. Okay. He's going air to ground on this. He's going for the rock eyes on the OSA, and I don't know that it's going to be a great prognosis long term, but there's potential to pick him up.
Yeah, the MiG-31s may still be on reload. Does kill the CV, but he does lose the F4. I don't think it was really a worthwhile trade, especially considering that wasn't on a point. Now the MiG-31's coming in a little bit too late to... Oh, never mind, they're coming in to intercept the intercept. And they intercept.
The Western Air Force has been absolutely slaughtered today.
Yeah. I mean, he's lost 3 of his 4 F-15s already, and a F4 Phantom as well. So, not looking good. It seems like for Hippie, it's really going to come down to how he uses his Su-25s. He's invested so much in the airplay. I mean, he still doesn't have a whole lot of ground game available to him. He really needs to start picking off his high-value target, his M1A on Abrams, and other things as well, for him to have a chance to get back into Gulf.
Well, there wasn't just a tow squad that was firing a tow at a T-80U, but then apparently that tow almost tried to find its way back home when its target popped smoke. I actually don't think I've seen the boomerang tow before. Chaparral engaged in the Su-25 and damages it quite a bit. He's going to be kind of heading for home. I get the feeling that Su-25 its lack of, let's say, really, really strong speed ends up being a bit of a bonus. Because at that point, your first thought is, okay, I am not able to go very fast. So either I'm in my final attack run before I get, before I really kind of, how do I put this? Either I get in my final attack run because I know all the ground cover is gone, or I am able to pull out because I see there's so much ground fire there. I don't know.
Yeah, it does give you reaction time. Just as long as, you don't get shot down by missiles. Oh, he actually made it.
I was like, lovely.
Huh. Yeah, it's sneaky, and he's like almost out of fuel as well, so good job on the ACAV, really being an assault cavalry force here. That's going to force another CV from Hippie. I'm guessing he's going to have to redirect something up north to try and deal with the ACAV.
That legitimately is a beautiful play.
Yeah, that's the main thing, is forcing Hippie to spend another 100 points on not frontline units. That may not sound like a lot, but it does add up over time.
Well, the other thing here, too, is, let's see, 1, 2... He's got, okay, so the potential 4 here. He's got 1 on the field already, so he's got 3 more at most. Which, like you said, it's still possible. It is.
Mm-hmm.
You can see that he's been called in right now. So he's looking to go pick this up, get eyes on with the MI-8, get drops with the Su-25, and then bring in that command vehicle immediately. But not to be caught out, he's swinging around that middle position there. Interesting.
Yep, and he does get eyes on. Did it? If he had for a second, but never mind. But still, his middle position is not looking great here for Hippie. I mean, it's such a decent defense line here of all those ACAV troops. Nothing super heavy, but it's a lot of stuff you have to slowly pick on through. I do like currently how Hippie is maneuvering down south here to try to get a good, flanking angle of attack into Delta and Gulf.
I would like to say the M1 with the ACAV, sorry, I always want to go by the full destination. He did take out the MI-8.
God damn.
Yeah.
He's been a real pain in the ass here.
Yeah.
He's buying a Hind as well as another MI-8 to really pick us off. What Su-25 is, he's sniffing around, waiting for chance to strike, but now he's got bored and just gonna yeet an Ito out of existence.
I don't know, the Chappies might be able to take him. Not likely, but it's possible. I just have to kind of go and see how much of a BS that is. Yeah, 50% static accuracy. I feel like it should be better than that, but I understand. Wait, he might lose an Mi-24 to this too.
Oh my god.
He's
stunned.
He's gonna go and almost... He's lost a second one. He's gonna lose a third one as well. The Mi-8 has no munitions.
And
the command vehicle is still there too. Okay, I'm not sure the range is still on this. That. Oh my god.
The recoilless rifle is 1400.
Yeah,
so
you knew where I was going.
He's out of range.
And he's out of fuel too.
His engineers and Dragon Show slowly making a range point, realizing that northern flank is completely barren. Yep, BRDM2 may have some unwanted guests sooner rather than later.
Ooh, 127 making some small runs here. Unfortunately, he's just trying to engage infantry.
Yeah, and he's not going to be able to get anything because, as I recall, the Chaparral is not a radar unit.
Nope.
So there's nothing really to see. Actually, the entirety of Phoenix's anti-aircraft tab is siege-proof. There's no radar unit at all.
And the ACAV has just run out of gas. So, Dragon in the meantime, gonna pick up that command vehicle. Here it comes. Oh, okay, never mind.
No, he books it. Smokey and the Bandit now. He's on the run.
Despite having no fuel, he's able to rotate on the spot.
That's just the guys outside jumping out and pushing it. But here we go. The T-62 comes on in and ruins the fun.
I'll get a bailout there, but another sneaky pickup. So, command vehicle in the south at a T-80U. We are seeing, I'm not going to say a hefty chunk, but a decent amount of some recon recon troops to the southwest. Oh, what is that over here? Still Gulf, right below Delta. Might be seeing a push east. But he doesn't know right now that those ground-to-ground missiles over here, those Metis and the BMPs, you know, that's still kind of that's an uphill battle.
Yeah, well, he really does need some supplies on that little southern force here, which I believe he is bringing in now. Because then they can actually force back any pushes here. But so far, Hippie is doing a decent job of regaining the points, at least, to neutralize it. I mean, the actual score is pretty much even Stevens. But the map control is definitely in Phoenix's control. Has potential to put havoc on Hotel. He still has a good chunk in Gulf. Like, he could recapture Gulf and just neutralize the point. So this is still, you know, in Phoenix's court.
Yeah, and indeed I think we're going to see that happen here because actually the command vehicle being brought west to east, the top side over here of Gulf. So he's at least looking to force more investment, let's say, from the Eastern Alliance.
And he definitely has, like, the nice thing of 3rd Armored compared to 79th is your infantry is more beefier. You have larger infantry squads and frankly some pretty good runs as you can just spam the dude with the Dragon ATGMs, especially on a map like this with a lot of open areas. Oh, F-15's coming in. Get in behind the mix now. Yeah, there we go. That's what he needs to do.
Oof, one down.
One down?
Well, because both these, the MiG-31s are actually engaging the Weasel.
Oh, the A-10's coming in as well. Oh, this is like an ace combat mission here. Oh, he does not finish off the MiG-31. He does pick off WARNO, and that's still pretty big. Because 2 MiG-31s is terrifying. 1 MiG-31's kind of just an annoyance.
It's survivable, right?
Yeah. Just due to the missile accuracy, it's much less likely for 1 MiG-31 to shoot you completely out sky before you get in close.
Meanwhile, the Southern Force gets eradicated as the Western Alliance moves over. That Abrams is very gutsy, but at the same time should be able to pick up that BMP. There we go.
Yep.
Which actually makes Gulf really, really unsteady.
Yeah. I mean, Hippie, he does have a few TATUs, but he does not have a whole lot really to support him. He needs a lot, or he has some recon, but he really needs infantry and other lighter vehicles in front, screen ahead. And yes, that TATU may be like some of the scariest armored units in game, but there's a lot of chaff he's gonna have to break through.
And gets picked up by the A-10. The A-10 can go to his grave knowing that he pretty much just sealed it, I would say, with that command snipe.
Yeah, and he also killed another TATU as well, so that's a really good pick-off here. And I think just zooming out and just looking at how blue, or how much more density the blue area of the map is compared to the red. Like, Hippie barely has really anything here to hold. He's invested in 2 heavy artillery pieces, which will help out quite a bit to rout guys out in Gulf. He just has nothing to actually push into Gulf.
Yes, indeed. But both actually are trying to engage the Bradley, which is a curious decision there.
There's just a huge wave of American armored pushing through.
Yes, it is. And the Abrams, one by one, being supported by M2A2s. Heck, even some fire teams with laws. We have the T-80s enforcing them back. And, you know, ooh, Su-25. This could bear fruit. Okay, I was saying this could bear fruit, but just as I say that, no bueno, no dice.
Nope. It's just more target. It's a overwhelming amount of targets here which Hippie has to deal with, and he just does not have enough units to deal with all these targets.
I think what we just saw with that MiG coming in, the Seed MiG, is just trying to amass some more of that ground fire. Broadly fighting vehicle, you cannot lose that Cub, though. I mean, I can certainly see the opposition saying something to the terms of, yeah, you know, it's great, but most of the American Air Force, the Western Air Force, is down anyway. But, I don't know.
Yeah, these Su-25s need to pick up the slack and just kind of destroy the entire American armored formation by themselves, so they just need to do some more gun runs, you know?
Well, I mean, that famously Napoleon said the Air Force is the queen of the battlefield, so...
Yeah. He said it at the Battle of Normandy, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. He was talking about his General Alexander the Great, so... Yeah. Now, there still is that Osa that has been here pretty much the entire match and gets taken out ignominiously by a single rocket from that dragon.
Seacon, you mention it, and then it just dies.
And then
you bring it attention. Yeah. God damn. And TODU coming in. Once again, powerful unit, but it's a lot of infantry guys he has to blow through. And a 125mm cannon, whether it's from a TODU or T-72, is pretty much the same when blowing up troops.
Well, MiG-27 is not to be outdone. Making gun runs not really as effective as you might hope with a Gatling gun, but yeah. Yeah,
really, like, sea aircraft have very hit or miss. We talked about this in one of our previous casts. They can perform really well, but they're expensive. And they usually don't ever get their point value out of them, just due to how cheap anti-aircraft units are, and especially in a match like this where there's nothing for it to actually seed. So it's just a crappy close air support unit.
Yeah, and that's, I think, what I would have followed that up with. Let's see, we have another A-10. So, again, the doddering A-10 being brought on in just to kind of fly in circles.
He's waiting for the target.
I also can't help but feel like we're waiting to see that there's another command snipe happening at some point. We actually see a number of troops over here on the northern side of the Eugen Hotel moving west to east. Might be able to eventually, someday, stay command vehicle, but he's nestled in probably the best spot he can be.
Yeah, he's right on the border of that zone. Nothing's really protecting him, I think, okay, these Spetsnaz coming in to provide bodyguard services.
That is all well and good. See being brought on in. Ooh, TDU. Not gonna get taken out. A-10 on the other hand. Yeah, jeez. That was cinematic.
Yeah, it was. It's like a bloody War Thunder air battle. Just both go head to head.
And actually, for the first time in the entire match, we see Apaches and the AH-64s. So, I know there's been some conversation here and there that Gatlings and autocannons on helicopters need a little bit of touching up here, but there is something so purely cinematic about watching an Apache or a Hind or something just start throwing out rockets with reckless abandon at the ground. It is...
Yeah.
Just, I'm not going to say stirring, because that's the wrong message, but it's just, it's really, really impressive to watch.
And they're bloody good as well. I can tell you, compared to Wargame Red Dragon, I would say helicopter rockets definitely feel much more scarier. Like, they can blow up tanks if you shoot them enough now. Which is pretty fair. It's a bunch of rockets coming at you from up above. It's not exactly an ideal situation to be in.
True. And if nothing else, for the older crowd out there, it just might make you think about Armor Alley, which is that wonderful little game you actually get to play as an Apache. That's besides the point. And you know, just going back to what you said before, look at how much blue there is. Even if you realize that a lot of this is anti-air, and a lot of this is supply vehicles, and heck, some of these are guys who don't even have a whole lot of viable weaponry. It's just very, very depressing to kind of have to worry about.
Yeah, it definitely feels like a match where it became a battle of quantity over quality, and as we see, quantity, just as usual, usually wins out. And yeah, SU-25 getting shot down here, because Phoenix managed to pretty much pepper his front line with cheap, reasonably priced IFVs, cheap infantry, cheap recon, which just made it a pain for Hippie to actually contest with, especially once you get into close quarters battles.
Which is kind of crazy when you think about it, because usually it's the Soviet lives that are rather cheap, but here in this case it's the Americans, so...
Yeah. That's one problem, really, with Soviets in this game. The infantry, well, Model Strike infantry, aren't as good, but that's also pretty historically accurate compared to the Western forces. You really need to rely on using cheap fight support, like BMPs and Hinds and all of that. But instead, he kind of invested heavily in, well, super heavies later on. And these super heavies, these TODUs, have just not really been paying themselves off, it feels like.
Absolutely correct there. No, but you're absolutely right. I mean, this is still the time of the contract Niki, if you're lucky, but most of these guys are just conscripts.
Yeah, most of the infantry were poorly trained conscripts.
And from all over the actual Soviet Union. Yes, sir?
Yeah, I remember reading a book about, like, Soviet military stuff, and usually Soviet conscripts, like, the squad leader would be the only one in the squad who could read the bloody map. And he would, like, kind of guard you. and everyone had a very specialized role. Like the RPG guy only knew how to really use the RPG. So if he went down, no one else had like basic training on how to use the RPG. Well, as you may know, in Western doctrine, there's a little bit of cross overlap between specialization, which increases effectiveness.
True. True is very, very accurate here. Unfortunately, I'm not like those chaparrals who are just there we go. That MiG-27 dies just before the final bell rings, and we're seeing what amounts to about the standard kind of a KD here.
Yeah, I'd say it's the standard 2,000 limit we'd expect for a 1v1 here. And looking at the kills, the American side, apart from that ACAV, I'm not seeing anything super crazy. Oh, that 1H Abrams, frankly shot down, or shot up 2 Cubs. And the Bradleys were actually, okay, there's some decent runs here.
But the funny thing is, if you look at it, it wasn't so much that there were necessarily huge numbers of stars, like the Su-25 over here, getting Martinov doing a rather decent job. Well, all of them had very valuable kills, let's put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Now we had, like, for example, that ACAV that went behind to kill that command vehicle and put pressure. Well done, Ayubkad? But put in that time and effort to kind of get behind the lines and kill a command vehicle, and I think that really did snowball a lot of the later success that was seen, well, by our good friend Phoenix TV.
Yeah, it was like hundreds of points wasted. Like helicopters and the CV blown up, opportunity costs as well. Yeah, ACAV unit was MVP of this battle.
True. But you know what? Hippie, I think, had him on the ropes early on. Definitely had the Air Force really locked down and tight. Just unfortunately was not able to parlay that into an advantage on the ground.
Yep. Just did not get that infantry momentum to really contest the Gulf Delta area.
Mm-hmm. But any final thoughts there, sir?
No.
Well, folks, in that case, then, come back on Thursday, check out some more WARNO. I think we got some more Division 1 play. But until that day, I'm Conolwork.
I'm Rangaroo. Take it easy.